Hey everybody, welcome into Faith in Football. My name is Neil, and guys, it's week 16. It's semifinals. It's time to put up or shut up. It's time to go after that, to go after the title, what we've been playing for, what we've been hoping for, what we've been praying for all season. But before we get into today's huge episode, of course, it's as always faith before football. So, today we got a whole lot of knowledge, and hopefully we can put that in practice, a whole lot of wisdom in applying that knowledge. Now, sometimes I've heard people say that, knowledge and wisdom, they're the same thing. No, they're not. And if you don't believe me, let's go to the scripture and we'll see that the Bible even makes a distinction that they are two separate things. I looked it up, and according to my research, the Bible mentions the word knowledge in the New King James 172 times. Now, wisdom appears 227 times in the New King James. So, knowledge 172, wisdom 227. Now, just that math there leads me to think that wisdom and knowledge are a little separated here. See, a lot of people can have knowledge. You can be very smart at something, you can be very knowledgeable about something, but do you have the wisdom to apply that knowledge? Because according to the dictionary, wisdom is the skill of applying knowledge. I remember hearing one time a pastor of mine saying that there was a a father, and he was visiting his son at work, and his son was a great scientist. He was a very smart boy, and he grew up. He went to college. He got his degree, and he was working on an invention when his father came to see him. And he told his father, he says, his father asked him what he was doing, and the son told him, he says, I'm inventing the most corrosive material ever made, ever known to man. It will eat away anything. You can drop it on anything. It will help in so many facets. It will, you know, if you have an emergency and you need to get to somebody, it'll eat away all of the stuff that's around these people, or it'll, help you remove things out of the way that, otherwise wouldn't have been there, or otherwise would have needed some kind of other way to get them out of your way. And it's the most corrosive material ever known. And the father let out one of those, like, impressive. And then he thought about it, and he looked at his son and he said, what are you going to keep it in? See, the son had knowledge, but the father had the wisdom. He had the wisdom to think that through. Son had a really good idea, but he didn't think it through. And there's sometimes when we have really good ideas, we just don't think them through. And it's times like that. It's times that, we know what should happen, what we should do, but when to do it and how to do it, sometimes we need a little direction. Sometimes, we should be going to God for these things. We should be looking for some spiritual advice, some spiritual guidance. And in our scripture today comes from Colossians 2, chapter 3, or I'm sorry, chapter 2, verse 3. It says, in him is hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. See, the Bible makes a distinction. There's wisdom and knowledge. And within God lies all of the hidden treasures of that. All we have to do is ask for it. God has promised us that He will reveal to us what we ask. Now, it might not be in the time that we're wanting it, but he will guide us. He will let us know what we need to know when we need to know it. See, the Bible tells us that he is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. And here's the thing. If you've ever had a lamp, if you've ever like, let's just say, you're carrying around your flashlight and you're walking in the dark and you're shining it at where you're walking, that's the only place that it's going to light up. And this is a test of faith. This is a test of, do you trust God to know that He is going to lead you down the path that He wants you to go? See, sometimes we don't always want to go down the path that He wants us to go down because there's another way that's fully lit up, that's fully visible, that we can see the end of it, or at least we think we see the end of it. What we don't see is the things hidden in the shadows because the world wants to light up the end result. They want to let you know that, hey, you can have all these riches and all these glories and the fame and all this other stuff. You just got to do this. You just got to compromise your principles. You just have to do what we tell you to do. Where God tells you that He is a light unto your feet, or a lamp unto your feet, and a light unto your path. He's going to light your path up, but it's only going to light up for so far. So when you're walking, you can safely take that next step. But the step after that, you have to trust that God's directing you and God is guiding you down the path that you should be going. That's where our faith comes in. See, week 16 has a whole lot of decisions to it. But the thing is that the decisions now we put more emphasis on because we have more what we consider riding on it. We have more do or die type things. Whereas in week 2, if we started somebody that we shouldn't have started, or we benched somebody that we shouldn't have benched, it was no big deal. There's always next week. We can make it up. Week 16, if you lose, that's it. You're done. Your season's over. See, the further along we get in life, that holds true as well. See, when we're young and we're teenagers or early 20 somethings, we think that the decisions that we make, they're not going to hurt us that much. We're still young. We can still make mistakes. We can still do the stupid things that are typical of youth, that what our parents say or what those around us who have been through it tell us that, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. Hey, you shouldn't be doing that. Hey, maybe you should go look in this area or in this aspect or look at it in this way. And we blow them off because we're like, hey, we're young. We don't have to worry about it. See this gray? I didn't get this gray by accident. Okay. The gray, that's a lot of knowledge. It's a lot of wisdom. Now, did I always apply it? No. I'll tell you right now that I've made mistakes that I've gone down paths I shouldn't have gone down. And I can speak on this in this way because I've been that young, dumb kid who knew better than everybody else around me. Now, there is a good thing with having the youth is that you're a little more trusting at times and you take things a lot more on faith than you do on experience because you haven't had the experience. And you have to balance that. That's when we should be leaning on God. I didn't lean on God when I was earlier in my life. Now, look, this whole channel is based upon leaning on God for something so small and minute and asking for that to transfer into other parts of our lives. So the faith that you've shown through this season, the faith that you've practiced through this 16 weeks of the fantasy football season in trusting God with your fantasy football team, congratulations. Now, let's take that faith, that trust that God's going to look over your fantasy team He's looked over mine. There were trades that I offered that were refused. That later on I realized that if I had made that trade, if that trade had gone through, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And that's in the semifinals. I wouldn't have had X player or Y player. I would have had A, B, or C player. And that would have done me absolutely no good because they got hurt or they underperformed or they didn't perform at all. But it was something that at the time, that I wanted. I wanted that player. I wanted that situation. In life, we want to be in this area. We want to be here. We want to be there. We want to be with this person or that person. But those people aren't good for us. Now, whether that's a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife, a family member, whatever the case may be, there are reasons that they're not in your life anymore. There are reasons why things happen the way that they happen. Now, we don't have that wisdom. All we've accumulated is the knowledge that they're out of our life, that they're gone, that that situation no longer exists. But God holds the key to the wisdom of why we're where we're at. Now, we have to trust and go and walk by faith that He knows what He's doing. Sometimes it's not an easy thing. Sometimes it's really hard just to sit your line up and forget it and trust that it's going to work out. Have faith that it's going to work out. You want to tweak it, you want to adjust it because you think you know better. Now, if you get a word, if you're open and sensitive to the calling of the Holy Spirit to where you get a word that you need to change this player or that player, great. The same thing works in life, in real life, not just fantasy football. If you get a word, if you get a prodding from the Holy Spirit that you need to separate yourself from this person or that person or this situation or that situation, that is wisdom. You're gaining the knowledge and you're applying it to the situation that you're in. So I want us to remember Romans 8:28, our anchor verse here for faith and football, that all things work together for the good of those who know the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Don't forget your purpose. And if you don't know what it is, ask God to reveal it to you. He is faithful. He is able to fulfill the good work that he began in you. If he started something, he will finish it. It might not be this year, it might not be 5 years from now, but it will happen and he will complete the good work that he has started in you. I know he has started a good work in me and he's in the process of helping me complete it. It's not going to be completed for quite some time, and I understand that. But I also welcome that and accept it. So I'm hoping that this message finds you in the fight for a title and it keeps you in the fight to keep up your faith, to keep applying the knowledge that you've learned so you can gain the wisdom to make better decisions in the future. So let's get into a very, very heavy week 16. And guys, I broke out the big guns for this one. A little bigger cup than what I'm used to, or actually what you guys are used to saying. This is my everyday cup. Have it at work with me all the time. No, it's not water, and no, it's not alcohol because I wouldn't be on a faith-based YouTube channel doing this, getting drunk. I just wouldn't be good. So it is, for lack of a better term, Kool-Aid. So it's a knockoff Crystal Light. But anyway, it's good stuff. And you guys always know what that means. It means that I'm about to mention my sponsor, Zia Rotisserie Bar, down at 235 Duce Road off of Johnson Street in Lafayette, Louisiana. Guys, we're like a week away, less than a week away from Christmas. This is Friday. We had a Thursday night game last night. My apologies to anybody who had anything to do with last night's game, because unless you had Bo Nix or Gus Edwards or Justin Herbert, which if you had those guys, you might not be in the playoffs. Just saying. Now, Bo Nix, maybe you might be there because he was doing really good and then he kind of fell off. Weeks 14, 13, kind of fell off a little bit. But I had Cortland Sutton going, and another league I had Ladd McConkey. Now Ladd McConkey didn't do too bad, but he was on my bench because I've got better options in that league. Cortland Sutton, however, for whatever reason, they just wanted to pass to anybody and everybody on Denver that wasn't named Cortland Sutton. I don't know what was happening there, and they used like five different people to run the ball. So yay for week 16 football. But I'm still in the hunt. I'm still punching, still fighting, still believing. So guys, title defense is real. It's hard. It's not an easy thing. And if you've ever been a champ and it's tough to repeat. So but with God helping me out and me doing a whole lot of praying on my team, I got faith that I'm going to be in that title game next week, and I'll be coming to you with a week 17 show. Um, it's probably going to be a little early because we got a whole lot of football coming up this week. Guys, it's crazy how much football we have, but we also have a whole lot of injuries. Let me give you guys a rundown of the games real quick. So, week 16. Here is the lineup for week 16. We had the Broncos Chargers last night. Saturday football. Now, guys, here's the thing. College football is in their playoff mode. Um, so Saturdays are pretty much wide open for football. So NFL tries to take over every year. We got the Texans Chiefs going at noon. Now, all these times are going to be central because that's where I'm at. So Chiefs Texans, we got at noon, and then at 3:30 we got Steelers Ravens. That's going to be a tough matchup. Now, you probably are sitting in the playoffs because Lamar Jackson got you there, because Derrick Henry got you there. So this is a really tough Week 16 matchup to have if you've got Lamar or Derrick Henry. Now, not saying that you're going to bench him, but a 47-point performance from Lamar, I really wouldn't bet on that one if I was anybody. Also, a superhuman effort from Derrick Henry might not be in your future, but there's no way that you're setting him. So, next up on the docket is Sunday football, normal football. We had the Eagles, Commanders. Yes, Washington Redskins. Yes. So Eagles, Washington is going as part of the early game slate. This is a really interesting one because if you've got Jaden Daniels, you probably are sitting in the playoffs as well. And if you got Saquon, like I do, you are also in the playoffs along with, I have Jalen Hurts. So you got Jalen Hurts going up against the Washington defense that is extremely susceptible to basically everything. They have been playing better as of late, but um, they're still a work in progress. Now, the Eagles, if you have Saquon Barkley and you saw the game last week, got under 10 points and he just looked off. In the second quarter, he hurt his knee. So we're watching that, but there's been no injury designation. There's been no word coming out of Eagles camp that he is going to be anything but fine for this matchup. Now, on the plus side, he is going after Eric Dickerson's single season rushing record. So there's that incentive. And I believe that this team is going to want to run him and get him that record as soon as possible so they can rest him for the playoffs. On the other side of the ball with Jaden Daniels, uh, there's a whole lot of pass catchers that are out. Noah Brown doesn't look like he's going to play. Zach Ertz is still hurt. So the concentration of targets going to Terry McLaurin, even though this is the worst matchup you could possibly have for a wide receiver in the fantasy playoffs. And guess what, guys? I got Terry McLaurin. However, my opponent has Jaden Daniels. Pardon me. So, yeah, I got a little choked up on that one. And my opponent actually is a faithful follower of this show. So, Thomas, hey, how you doing? Can't wait to face you this week, buddy. But yeah, so Terry McLaurin going up against Philly is not exactly the matchup that I wanted to have in the semifinal round, but with the concentration of targets, there's really not a whole lot of other people for him to throw to that are reliable. Let me put it that way. Um, and just got notification that Jalen Waddle is unlikely to play against the Niners. So let's get to that. That game's going to be a little later on. But next up, we got Rams, Jets. This game, guys, it's in New York and it's December in New Jersey. It's going to be cold. Now, Aaron Rodgers is perfectly fine with cold. Matthew Stafford, not so much. And my opponent has Puka Nacua. So I am praying really, really hard for a run heavy game from the Rams. So let's go, Kyron Williams. Um, Giants, Falcons. This game for the Giants, it's kind of a throwaway game. Danny DeVito, Tommy DeVito has been cleared from concussion protocol. So he will be the backup to Drew Lock. So if you're sitting there with my league neighbors, you are thanking the good Lord that he is starting and not DeVito, because DeVito did absolutely nothing for my league neighbors' fantasy value. Drew Lock, on the other hand, understands that that's the best guy on my team. Let me throw him the ball. Um, as far as the Falcons go, the Falcons have benched my boy Kirk Cousins, Captain Kirk. Look, this ACL injury or this Achilles injury that he's coming off of, this really is messing with his accuracy, really messing with his being able to his ability to push the ball downfield because it's on his back leg. Rodgers has the exact same injury, just on the opposite leg. It's his plant leg, so his power, his accuracy is still there. He just has to worry about re-injury, basically. Kirk Cousins, on the other hand, is worrying about power, accuracy, all those things are affecting him. So the Falcons have gone ahead and benched him in favor of Desmond Ridder. So, or no, I'm sorry, not Desmond Ridder. He used to play for them. Michael Penix Jr., the rookies that was surprisingly taken, I believe, eighth overall in this past year's draft. So they're going to see what they got from the rookie, and who knows, they might be playing for some kind of draft position here, going up against the Giants. They're sitting at 7-7 against a 2-12 Giant team. So this is going to be a real ugly game, guys. That's all I gotta say. So unless you have now Bijan's been beasting out and going up against a really bad Giants team. Now, surprisingly, the Giants defense has been getting better, but it's still Bijan, it's still the Giants, and they're playing in Atlanta, so there's no weather to speak of because they're going to be playing in a dome. So this one's going to be interesting. I do see a downtick for Darnell Mooney because he was the one that had a connection with Kirk Cousins. Kyle Pitts has been disappointing all year, and I don't see Michael Penix Jr. dumping the ball. He's one of those rushing quarterbacks, so when things get hectic in the pocket, he's going to break free. Carolina and Arizona are going to be facing each other in the next game. We got Carolina Panthers sitting at 3-11 with a re-energized Bryce Young. Now, the Cardinals team, they're sitting at 7-7. They actually have something to play for. They can actually get a division title out of this because they're only, I think, a game back of the division lead. That game is just a really, really weak division. They're playing at the same time as the Rams. So they're definitely going to be rooting for the Jets on this one. So if Carolina really, who really doesn't have anything to play for, if Cardinals can go ahead and beat them, they improve their postseason chances immensely, especially if the Jets prevail against the Rams. So James Conner is one of the big names out of this one, along with, hold on to your hats, Marvin Harrison Jr. So now, guys, normally on this episode, well, on my late episode of the week, I normally do a start sit. I'm not doing that today because it's playoff time. You're not dealing with those kind of decisions that I would normally bring up to you because you're in the playoffs. Your studs got you there. You're going to be playing your studs. I'm just trying to give you guys good matchups. Um, so we got Browns, Bengals. And let me just blitz through this real quick. Colts, Titans, Lions, Bears. These are all, yeah, the rest of these are going to be the late games. Vikings, Seahawks, Patriots, Bills, Jags, Raiders. Now, the Jags and the Raiders game, that's an interesting one because they're basically playing for draft position. You got 3-11 Jags versus the 2-12 Raiders. Um, I personally, as a Brock Bowers slash Jacoby Myers manager, am praying heavily and hard and often for Aiden O'Connell to be the quarterback. Because if it's not Aiden O'Connell and it's Desmond Ridder, this is where Desmond Ridder is. Um, I don't want it. I don't. I might have to be forced to pivot to another option, and I don't want to try to get too cute with my lineup, but um, however the Lord leads on this one. Um, now the Jags got Mac Jones led Jaguars because Trevor Lawrence is out for the rest of the season, and they've been playing decent. So if they're going to wind up being soft or whatever, I know that was the Titans, but hey, the Jags ain't all that hard either. Um, You probably got Travis Etienne. Brian Thomas Jr. is probably on your squad here as well. If you're in the playoffs, he's been playing phenomenal. I don't see a whole great big old production like last week coming out of him. Um, Trying to see who Mac Jones is going to target is crazy because it could be somebody else every single week. It's nuts. Jalen Coker is going to be back, so I don't know. But this is going to be a fight for the basement. And I've got an inkling that the Raiders really want that number one pick in Shedeur Sanders, the coveted quarterback coming out of Colorado, Deion Sanders' son. So see what happens with that one. Niners versus the Dolphins. And as I said, we just got word that um, Jalen Waddle will probably be out this week. So, hey, hopefully Tyreek Hill can step up and be a target getter. However, I do have some injury news to let you guys in on in a few minutes about Tua. Um, then we've got Sunday Night Football. This is one that I'm paying very close attention to, not just because it's Cowboys versus the Bucks. It's because I'm facing T CeeDee Lamb, and I have not only Mike Evans, how I also have Jalen McMillan. And normally I don't advise putting in two wide receivers. However, this week with the performance of Cortland Sutton last night on Thursday Night Football with my big old 10 points, um, the upside of Jalen McMillan is a little bit greater than that of the upside of a hobbled Jacoby Myers, who's dealing with an ankle injury, has been limited to practice, and not really sure who his quarterback's going to be. So, yeah, it's probably going to be a 2-for-1 on this one. I'm probably going to have Jalen McMillan and Mike Evans facing CeeDee Lamb on Sunday Night Football for the chance to defend the title even farther this year. And God willing, things will work out. So, Monday night game, Saints Packers. Guys, this one, if you've got a defense in your league, if you play a defense in your league, if the Packers are not rostered, please go pick up the Packers because the Saints are going not only without Derek Carr, they're also going without Alvin Kamara, without MVS, without Taysom Hill. This season is just, it's over. It's done for the Saints. Like they're just throwing guys out there off the street at this point because they're so decimated with injuries right now. So if you've got the Packers defense, by all means, fire them up and start them Monday night against New Orleans. It is not going to be a pretty game. Now, on the Packers side of the ball, the only thing that I caution is I really don't trust any pass catcher for the Packers just for the simple reason that you never know who's going to pop off because every single one of them could have a great game and you could see a path to a great game from anybody. Um, the only thing is that as bad as the Saints are, this could just be a Josh Jacobs game. So now, speaking of paths to greatness, guys, if you're looking for something for your holiday table, if you're looking for dessert, something sweet, you got a sweet tooth like I do, you got to go see Keller's Bakery. It's at 627 Lafayette Street in Youngsville, Louisiana. Guys, go down there, check them out, tell them I sent you, pick up your 2 free cookies just for walking in the door and showing them that you subscribe to this channel. See my boy Dusty and make sure that you pick up something while you're down there. Guys, pies, cakes, king cake. Yes, you can get a king cake for Christmas, even though it's not Mardi Gras. Guys, it doesn't matter. They will hook you up with a pie. Go online, check them out, kellers-bakery.com. All right. Go down there and check them out. www.kellers-bakery.com and place your order there. Find them on Facebook and make sure that you let them know that you heard about them on Faith and Football and pick up your 2 free cookies when you go down and get your lemon meringue pie, your pecan pie, your dozen donuts, your king cake, whatever you get. Now, maybe you got a Christmas baby in the family and you need a birthday cake to go along with the pie. They will hook you up with that too. They are awesome in everything they do. I've not had in the, I think, 6 years that I've dealt with Keller's Bakery, I've not had one single thing from this place that I didn't like. It is absolutely phenomenal. They put love and care into everything they do. Make sure you guys go down there and check them out. Okay. So, real quick, I'm gonna let you guys know that week 17 starts super early this year. Okay. We've got a Wednesday. Yes, we have a Wednesday Christmas Day game. Now, both of these games are going to be on Netflix. You got the Chiefs versus the Steelers, or the Ravens versus the Texans. And then on Thursday, we got a Thursday game too. So a Wednesday, a Thursday game. And it's a doubleheader on Christmas. And then the day after Christmas, um, for those of you who are familiar with um, English tradition. I believe this is called Boxing Day, if I'm not mistaken. But Seahawks Bears kick off the final Thursday, or I think it's the final Thursday. Yeah, the final Thursday night game of this year. Seahawks Bears. Now, this is going to be in Chicago. So make sure you're checking out the weather because the weather can change like that in the Windy City. It can be nasty and ugly, or it can be beautiful and sunny and cool. It's December in Chicago, guys. It's hit and miss on this. Um, and then we even have a triple header. Yeah, triple header on Saturday. We've got the Chargers, Patriots. We got Broncos, Bengals. That game should be interesting. And then we've got Cardinals, Rams for possibly a division title. And then the remainder of the games. on Sunday with a wrapping up with a Monday night matchup with the Lions Niners. That could get ugly quick, the way that the Niners have been playing and the way that the Lions have just been racking up points on everybody. So, something to keep an eye out for and to look forward to for your championship week. Guys, this is it. We're here. This is the pinnacle. This is what we've been fighting for all season. So let's see. Let's get to injuries. There's a lot of these to get through, guys. Now, some of these I'm going to mention, and they're going to be players that you probably aren't starting, but they're going to affect people that you are. Guys like Nelson Aguilar is downgraded to out for week 16 in the game against Pittsburgh. What does that mean? That means that Rashad Bateman had a fabulous, outstanding performance last week. If he was on your bench and you made it through, get him in your lineup. So you want to do that. Also, Zay Flowers is probably going to be a little more highly targeted in this game while with them missing Nelson Aguilar because the Pittsburgh run defense is just shut down. So even though it's Derrick Henry, they're probably going to need to throw the ball a little more. Curtis Samuel for Buffalo, wide receiver. He is questionable. Now, guys, remember, make sure that you have your notifications on, that you're paying attention to the practice reports for today and the inactives coming up. Remember, if you've got a Saturday game or if you've got an early game, if you've got somebody going early on a Sunday morning, make sure that they are in your position players. Make sure that all the guys on Monday night are in your flex position. So if anything happens between now and game time, you have an opportunity to switch these guys out. So if you got any Packers, you got any Saints players who aren't on the IR, um, go ahead and put them in your flex position. So guys like Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Dobbs, Jaden Reed, if you've got Josh Jacobs, just make sure they're there. The last thing I want you guys to do is to have somebody locked in for Monday night and not be able to pivot if something happens. So make sure you go do that right now. The reason I'm mentioning Curtis Samuel here is because Shadir Shakur, the other wide receiver, is going to be highly targeted. And with Buffalo putting up the numbers that they are, they've been doing an outstanding job in scoring points. It's mostly been under Josh Allen, along with James Cook last week. Now, he's still going to have to throw the ball. He's still going to have to throw it to somebody. But Shadir Shakur, Keon Coleman, who is back, if Curtis Samuel does miss time or if he's limited in his role, then that should be something. Now, Trey Benson has been ruled out, running back for the Arizona Cardinals. The reason I'm mentioning this is because that makes James Conner even more valuable. Now, DeMarcado, who is the third string, is also dealing with injury. So basically, they got nobody else behind James Conner. So if James Conner struggles at all, he's still not going to get the ball. So he's straight volume. And remember, in fantasy football, volume is king. So, Zach Charbonnet. Now, this is important for all of you Ken Walker managers out there. He actually just got back to a limited practice on Thursday. So, we're going to be paying attention to today's injury report and practice report to see what capacity he plays in today's practice. Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. He's limited at practice, so he's dealing with injury, dealing with a hip injury right now. So, guys, don't know. Might not look good for Miami coming up in their matchup today or this week against the Niners. Already mentioned about Jalen Waddle. Tyler Higbee has come down with an illness, so that's going to be something to monitor. He probably will be fine, But if you have been decimated with tight end injuries and you were maybe thinking about Tyler Higbee, you might want to pick somebody else. Okay. Uh, Now I'm going to bring up Marshawn Lloyd, but that's going to be more of a week 17 play if Green Bay is able to lock up any kind of spot. And you want to keep an eye on the playoff picture because the playoff picture plays of a whole lot in decision making for teams because if they've locked up their spot and they're not able to move, whether they win or lose, then their guys are going to be rested. And they're going to maybe start some rookies or some bench guys who they want to make sure that they have what they think they have in them. So Marshawn Lloyd could be one of those guys for week 17. Now, here's the other thing. With the way that Josh Jacobs has been running the ball and the clip that he's been going at, he's been tearing it up. So if he goes down, just a maybe, a what if, think about it like this. If you had Alvin Kamara and you went into the last Sunday without Kendre Miller on your bench, you're wishing that you would have picked him up this past week. Because if you didn't, you're riding into Monday night struggling. Alvin Kamara probably got you help get you to the playoffs. He probably got you the week 16 matchup that you're in. Now you're having to deal without him. And if you don't have Kendre Miller, you're going to have to pivot to a lesser option. So if you've got Josh Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd probably isn't rostered in your lineup or in your league. So go roster him. You don't need depth at this point. You need insurance. Okay. So let's see. AJ Brown limited with a knee injury. This is important because, guys, I know Devonta Smith has been a disappointment this year, but last game, this dude balled out. I think he got 22 points, if I'm not mistaken. So if he's down, and if you're also looking for any kind of tight end help, Grant Calcaterra is the tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's going up against a defense in Washington that ain't that great covering tight ends. So, yeah, you might want to go ahead and roster Grant Calcaterra if you need tight end help. I myself am having a really hard time because I got doubts about Brock Bowers, but I'm riding with him. I'm holding tight with him. If I did have a lesser option, then of course, no problem. Now, some bright news for myself. Brees Hall carrying no injury designation, looks fine, looks great. And we got word that Isaiah Davis, the backup running back, along with Braylon Allen, are both being limited at practice. Um, Isaiah Davis with a back injury, actually both of them with a back injury. So let's go Brees. So resting on Brees and Saquon and Tajay Spears because next up is, let's see, I'm trying to get down here to Tony Pollard. Anyway, so yeah, so Tony Pollard, guys, has been uh dealing with a ankle injury that has just been sidelining him, and he's been playing through it. That's what gave him such a bad showing last week. Yes, he got into the end zone. Yes, he was okay, but the 28-point performance from Tajay Spears, guys. Now look, I know Tony Pollard's been my boy. I've been telling y'all that Tony Pollard is a better runner than Tajay Spears, and I stand by that. But when you've got an injury, then the guy who's healthy is going to be the better runner. Now, the plus thing about Tajay is this coaching staff loves them some Tajay Spears. So he is going to be the guy. And they're already tired about hearing about their team being soft. So I'm seeing some smash in your mouth, good old, smash mouth football coming up for this week's matchup in Tennessee. Now, let's see, Brenton Strange, who was the darling of waiver wire pickups because of his performance week 15, limited with an um, AC joint sprain from last week's game. He's been limited. Tyler Boyd, wide receiver for Tennessee, and Will Levis has been benched. So we got a new QB in Tennessee, and I'm looking for a whole lot of checkdowns to Tajee Spears. So I'm in full PPR. Let's roll, guys. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, also no practice on Thursday. So that's something to keep an eye on. You guys may have rostered him as I did for weeks 12, 13, 14, where he was just going off and scored touchdowns on 2 catches every single week like clockwork. And then you actually trust him and put him in your lineup, and he bombed week 14. Yeah. Anyway, Jawan Johnson, limited with a foot issue. So again, another tight end for the Saints out. That means Foster Moreau is probably going to be your guy. So again, if you need tight end help, Foster Moreau is another name to know out there. Cedric Tillman limited at practice. Now, guys, here's the thing. Jameis Winston, also another bench quarterback this week for Cleveland, and they're starting Dorian Thompson-Robinson as their starter. Now, what does that mean? That means that Cleveland's going to lose. That's basically what this means. That means that they've given up on their season because they've made Jameis Winston the emergency third string quarterback. Yeah, I would much rather have Jameis Winston throwing the ball to Jerry Jeudy or Cedric Tillman than I would Dorian Thompson-Robinson, because when things, as I said, when things get hairy in the pocket, he's going to take off. Sterling Shepard, limited Thursday, so that's good news for those of us who have Jalen McMillan and or Mike Evans. Deontay Johnson, of course, is unavailable for Baltimore. Cade Otton was a DNP. That means did not practice again on Thursday. He's dealing with a knee injury. Joe Burrow was limited. I don't really see a whole lot of concern on that one. He'll play through it and he'll be fine. MVS is dealing with a chest issue, so here it is. Tony Pollard misses practice on Thursday. Now, here's the thing about Tony Pollard is that, yes, he misses practice on Thursday. He could miss practice today. However, he did the exact same thing last week and he still played. So just because he's in there doesn't mean he's healthy. So that's something to keep an eye on. Okay. Bucky Irving did log a limited session. So for those of you who are riding the Bucky Irving train in Tampa, keep an eye out. You might, if you can get through week 16 without him, and he was probably somebody that you picked up off of waivers anyway. So if you've got the players to go ahead and get through week 16, week 17 could look a whole lot brighter for those of you who have Bucky Irving. Xavier Legette is not practicing in Carolina, so that's good news for those of you who went out and picked up Adam Thielen. T. Higgins should play despite missing practice. Guys, welcome to the T. Higgins experience. Week 14 did absolutely nothing. Week 15 blows up. Week 16, who knows? Rashad Bateman, questionable for Sunday. Something to keep an eye on, dealing with a foot injury. Derek Carr did not practice on Thursday. However, it is said that he still might play. So if he plays and Kendre Miller is your running back, then I would be much more comfortable with having Kendre Miller riding the hopes of your championship into week 17 on the back of a Kendre Miller Monday night experience with the Packers in Lambeau. So it's a Monday night game, guys. It's hairy. Make that decision early if you wanna make that. Make sure that you've got Kendre Miller in your flex and you have a backup plan for Monday night. Maybe you've got one of the Packers receivers that you're going to throw in there. You'd rather have Kendre Miller, whatever the case may be. It's going to be hairy. Now, guys, just because we got all this football coming and we got it all early doesn't mean I'm not here for you. Down below, when you subscribe, like, share, all that kind of good stuff, whatever decision that you're having to make sure you leave me a comment and let me help you get one of these. I want you guys to get a title, okay? Now, what I also want you guys to do is go down to 603 Jefferson Street and go see Ami's Groceries and let them know that Neil from Faith and Football sent you down there to go check out their over 200 local items from over 50 local vendors. And if you're downtown Lafayette, Louisiana, and you're a little hungry, go down and check them out. They got some big flavors coming out of a small kitchen. It is absolutely phenomenal. They were down there making some sweet potato fries. And guys, these are some awesome fries. You like sweet potatoes? Go down there and get you some sweet potato fries from Ami's Grocery. Their menu changes daily, so make sure you check in the little black erase board that's out front and see what they got going on. I know they got some chicken Alfredo fettuccine. Um, they got on Tuesdays, they got a walking taco bowl that's absolutely phenomenal. And if I'm not mistaken, every day they have some mini muffaletta sliders. So if you like muffaletta, go down there, get you some, take it home, eat it. Um, Also, if you are in that area, maybe you work downtown, maybe you don't want to cook for the family tonight, maybe you're tired, you had a long day, go down there, check them out. They got some family meals in the freezer section. Check it out. These are like legit meals, guys. These aren't like Walmart TV dinners that you buy. These are legit family meals. Go down there, check them out, see what they got. Make sure you talk to Bradley or Craig down at Ami's Grocery at 603 Jefferson Street, Lafayette, Louisiana, and let them know the Neil sent you. So, let's see. Jalen Coker for Carolina limited with by a quad issue. Uh, let's see. Zach Ertz limited in return to practice, so he's back, but he's limited, so something to keep an eye on there. Tyrone Tracy, the golden boy of waiver wires for this past year, limited again on Thursday. So who knows? If you got him in your lineup, it's going to be a risk. So this time of year, anything limited is definitely there. Now, Chris Olave has been designated to return. Um, Now I'm reading this straight off the Fantasy Footballers articles page. So to give them full credit on this, designated to return interim coach Darren Rizzi said that Olave's 21-day window in which to return from injury reserve has been opened. Michael Triplett of the New Orleans Football reports Olave officially was limited at Thursday's practice. Guys, that's pretty big. So seeing Chris Olave possibly being able to return along with Derek Carr being limited at practice for a Monday night game in Lambeau against the Packers, if he's available, he probably has been dropped. So if he's been dropped, go pick him up, stash him. You got confidence in that you're going to get to week 17 and you need some wide receiver help. Guys, Chris Olave for week 17. I'll tell you what, we'll do this. We'll do you one better, guys. Let's check out and see who they're playing week 17. And the Saints have, if I had a drum roll, I'd be asking for one right now, but Don't have any sound effects. Whew. The Saints are playing the Raiders week 17, guys. So, yeah, if it's all good, you got a revenge game for Derek Carr going back facing the Raiders. You've got Olave coming off of IR and seeing what he's got. So, yeah, that could work out really well. So, you guys, I've always said you want to play chess, not checkers. This is a straight chess move for those of you who are pretty much locked for week 17, and you know who you are. My boy D Money, I'm talking to you. So, if you've got room on your roster, you've got somebody to drop, go ahead, take a shot and see if Chris Olave is available. All right, let's do it. One last check. My updates. Oh, here's one. Um, didn't want to bury the lead. Two things. One, of course, I did not mention the David Montgomery injury because everybody should know that one. But David Montgomery lost for the season, the regular season. There is rumor that he should be due back for the postseason if possible, but don't hold your breath on that one. Any Detroit Lions fans, which means that Jahmyr Gibbs is turning into a league winner if you have him and you're still in your playoffs. Unfortunately, the guy who had Jahmyr Gibbs in our league lost last week to me. So sorry, Ken. Not sorry, but anyway. But yeah, so if you have Jahmyr Gibbs and you're playing week 16, you're probably going to be playing week 17 too, because this is going to be outstanding for the rest of the season, for these final 2 weeks for the fantasy season. Um, let's see. But the other bit of news is that Hollywood Brown is due back for the Chiefs to this week on Saturday. The Saturday matchup that they have against Houston. So, hey, I was big on Hollywood preseason. Then he got hurt. Now he's back. Again, this is another one, same story as Chris Olave. Throw him in. Look, you've already got your lineup done. You're not going to pin your hopes on a maybe. You want to definitely pin it on a more definite situation, but you don't want your opponent to have a possible golden ticket sitting on Chris Olave or Hollywood Brown. Go ahead, pick them up, throw them on your roster, see what happens. Worst case scenario, you drop them next week. Okay. So, guys, I hope that helps out. I know this was a lot to get to. Uh, there's a lot of football left. There is. I'm not gonna lie, it's all crammed in these final 2 weeks, and that run for the title is no joke. So make sure you're making those wise decisions using the knowledge that you have, and remember that you're still praying, you're still trusting God to guide you in your lineup decision making. So, guys, with that being said, um, I would like to take a second because this is my next to last uh, broadcast on this year. Now, I'm hoping that I will be able to post a link to show you what our punishment for the worst team in the league was this year. It was the first time that we have a league punishment, and I will be posting the video of that punishment here on this channel. So make sure that you tune in for that. And we'll be having an interview with my boy Marshall, who wound up being the worst fantasy team in the league this year. And he gets to stand at the corner of Doucette and Johnson at a TBD date, wearing a tutu and a halter top while holding a sign that says, I suck at fantasy football. I do encourage you that if you are a commissioner, if you do run a league, or if you are in a league that doesn't have a last place punishment, please implement one. Not only are they fun, but they also keep it a little more competitive than guys just going in and going, I'm good. and not playing for keeps for the remainder of the season. It does keep it a little more honest. So, food for thought. But guys, as always, remember that I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for spending your time with me and giving me your attention. I appreciate it greatly. And if you have any questions for your week 16 lineup or your week 17, down below, hit me up. Let me know what it is, and I'll do the best I can to help you out and help you get a title so you can go ahead and say that God helped me get a title because he helped me get that one. So, and I'm praying that he'll let me keep it. So, guys, y'all have a great week 16. I hope it turns out well for you and keep praying on it. And remember, take that what you practice, that muscle that you've been working out all season. Guys, you've had 16 weeks to work out your faith muscle. It should be getting a little stronger by now. Let's transfer that over into other aspects of our lives, into your job, finances, marriage, kids, prayer life. Let's get it together, guys. This is where we've been practicing, been practicing. Now it's time to go out and actually implement what we've been learning here with faith and football. Okay, guys? Because it's faith and life after this. Okay. So next time we'll see you guys. And remember that football's good, but God is greater. Love you guys. Have a great holiday season and Merry Christmas.